Hello, hello. So, to do a quick little update, this is a D&D campaign update, little short video here for one of my players. So, in the last few sessions on D&D, our players had taken a few extra rooms on, forged their way forward, discovered a companion, a future friend, as it were, hiding amongst the sodden corpse of a cephalopod in a massive salt-rimed room, implying that the room had regularly gone through inundation and drying periods of salt water, to which they heard weeping and crying. So they entered the room and found the source to be a person almost completely invisible, trying desperately to get their attention. In this process, they discovered this person had been cursed with a preternatural disease that was causing their invisibility, called the Crystal Plague. So they cured this person and discovered that not only was it silencing them, or muting them mostly, making them invisible, disfiguring their bodies horribly. So the person they released turned out to be a character by the name of Thalion. This character, it turned out, had been following our merry band of adventurers since before the train. And this process led to him telling a tragic, epic backstory of his that he had originally surmised and supposed the return of Dacia, the previous incarnation of Lisa's character, through actions that had occurred and through portents and spells and the like. Ascertained that her character had been returned to life in some way, attempting to track them down and keeping a close eye on their ex-guildmates. They observed her entry into her sarcophagus room, and carefully observing the reactions of the old guildmaster and their interactions with the character, they determined that yes, Lisa's character was indeed the reincarnation of the former guildmaster, and so was following them around, attempting desperately to catch up with them. They were on the train when everything went to hell, literally, you know that. They had followed everyone to the city, where they eventually wound up with the rest of the evacuees on the train, deposited in Central City, much like the rest. He was released under much less prestigious conditions than being escorted by a prince, and forged his own way through the alliances and intrigue of the Undercity, of Central City, Centaur City. And he had his own share of problems, finding allies and dealing with trials and tribulations of his own, striving and struggling to return to Dacia and reaffirm his allegiance to her reincarnation, as attempting to atone for murdering their past selves. This led to a number of, a confrontation there, because the party was like, you killed her in a past life and you're now swearing to what? Right your wrongs? The group was very much confused by this. It was a whole process. So they have this new teammate, and they're like, hey, Judging by the layers of salt in this room, this isn't the first squid to show up here. And the new compatriot basically confirms that, yeah, every few hours it will resummon a new squid. So you don't want to be here when it does that, because it'll just flood the room, fill it with a squid. The room will slowly drain to the point where you can breathe in here and you can fight it. And then, you know, you deal with that whole process. So they're like, okay, we can't be in this room. So they leave. They go on to the next chamber. I think everybody mostly remembers this, but you go into the next chamber, you fought the summoning trap that uses sacrifices and runes and a suspended summoning totem over the middle of the room to summon an especially powerful beast. Like, the more powerful the sacrifice, the more powerful the summoned creature. So when 4 undead owl bears attacked from the central pit of a summoning chamber, something particularly powerful was going to be summoned in that process, which no one wanted anything to do with. And that room was dealt with. The various treasures and valuables, you know, accounted for. There's a room after that that's kind of like lackluster. I don't remember it exactly. And then there's the room after that. Excuse me. The room after that is the library. The library is a big, grand chamber. You know, a couple of stories tall, big, grand, filled space of books and knowledge. And it is discovered through examining the shelves and the remnants of the books, some of which are intact, some of which are not, that these are all intra-faith texts in the fantasy world, both good and evil alike. So it's a very much a intra-faith library, covering topics from how to catch a murderer to how to get away with murder, how to catch tax fraud, and how to commit tax fraud. So you have all spectrums covered here. So in the process of examining these books, the density of divine magic permeating the room, of both a heavenly and hellish nature, has a sympathetic reaction with Lisa's character's cursed mark. The cursed mark has a sympathetic divine reaction to the tomes around it, causing her some damage, but also sparking a internal chain reaction. Transforms her character from her new person into her past self. Now, it takes some while to acclimatize to that, for that change to really snowball and take real effect, but it starts a unpleasantly warm sensation and a crackling of energy throughout her character that is noticed. It's like, I don't feel so hot. Something feels wrong, something feels off, and her character's uncomfortable for a couple of hours as they investigate the library. They discover magical tomes and books and things. And in this process, they manage to find that there are 2 exits to the room. One is what is obviously the front door, and the other is obviously a excavated secret rear exit, besides the way they got in, which was the staff entrance. What was once the staff entrance. And so, as this goes on, the whole party is like helping to investigate the library and all the books in there, and they eventually find in every D&D fantasy bookstore, or not bookstore, but library, you need that quintessential, iconic, false book that you find the book that doesn't fit, you pull on the top and it opens the secret passage, and that's the whole process there. So they managed to find that, and it's a whole like thing, or they go into and discover that whole spiel of discovering that, because stereotypes are stereotypes for a reason, and that process goes on. They pull that secret book. They have the moment where the secret passage is opened. The giant portcullis inside the secret passage opens, revealing the room beyond, and it's a massive chamber filled with lava. But as this is occurring, Ysaila becomes Dacia. The transformation reaches its final stages. She bursts into cold flames. The flesh of her old burns away the flesh of the new. And basically this is the excuse for Lisa to change characters to Dacia. So she has changed out her character for Dacia Day, her old person, reincarnated once again, reinfleshed. She's now a Hexblade, class change, and all that goodness. All her same equipment, all her same gear, just changed over to a new character sheet, new stats, new character, all that goodness. So that happens. They begin investigating the lava-filled room beyond, and it is a whole ordeal. They discover that there is a, if you will, imagine a trident room, where the base of my hand here, where my thumb is the entrance to a room, and there's 3 walkways out into a big empty space. Now, the left and the right passages, or walkways, lead to control panels. The central walkway leads to a platform, but it is obscured by the flow of lava coming down from the roof, parting ways on the platform and running into the chamber below. Now, there is like no overly noticeable heat from this, which is something they don't notice at first. They don't really notice that the chamber here is very well thermally controlled. If there's exposed lava in the adjacent chamber, and there is no noticeable temperature change. Now, they examine the area from here as much as they can, and they discover that using Detect Evil, there is a creature patrolling the central causeway inside lava. Inside. So it is immune to the fire damage it does being exposed to the lava. Now, this creature is neither good nor evil. It's neutral. So that's a process they look at and they go, okay, it's not evil. That means it's neutral, it's following a set of instructions. Maybe it will just keep patrolling. So they decide, all right, we're going to run in there. We're going to run in there real quick. We're going to examine those controls and figure out what it all does. They do so. They run into the chamber. They find... Oop, I'm getting close to 20 minutes here. They find the controls. They start using them. It's complicated. There's a process. They discover that that this is the final chamber, using a combination of flight and shenaniganry to get around the chamber at speed. They disable the controls. They unlock the mechanisms in the room. they discover that there is a dome over top a plinth upon which the wish-granting lamp is contained. So it is a dome enchanted with divine magic, and atop of that is a set of infernal chains. So divine magic, hell magic working together to contain the lamp, to hold it in place, to keep it where it is. So, during the methods that they have poked and prodded for controlling what is occurring in this room, to make it so they could access the dome and the lamp within, they discover that the thing consuming all of the lava being generated by this room is a sphere of annihilation in the floor deep below. And the controls they had turned off had fully released this fully activated sphere of annihilation that was eating away at the mana of the room that they were in. So all magic was slowly being drained, and so the subtle and low-powered reinforcements to the structural integrity of the room were basically eaten away. So the platform and the chains and the dome and all the other enchantments are beginning to weaken. All the magic in the room is being slowly drained away, and the platform itself is buckling under the weight. All kinds of unpleasant things are taking place. They're still fighting the creature in the middle of the room, which turned out to be a undead Tyrannosaurus Rex golem that was just patrolling in the lava. It just didn't care about the elemental damage. And the thing that ultimately defeats the golem is they turn the lava back on, and it crushes the golem with the force of a mountain. Because, of course, the impact of several tons of molten magma hits with the force of a mountain, doing, I think it was 10d10 damage in bludgeoning damage from above. Completely smushed it. Also destroyed part of the walkway, loosened it. The whole walkway that the lamp and some of the players were on was tilted to the side slightly. This is especially dangerous because the area below the platform is a lava pit that is being drained by a sphere of annihilation. Fully activated sphere of annihilation, mind you. It's consuming everything. And so that's the whole process of, if we fall into that lava, not only are we going to die from the fire damage, even if you're immune to the fire, the lava is thick enough that it will just pull you with it into the sphere of annihilation. Because that's liquid rock. It's dense shit. It will just happily pull you right along. It's not water where, oh, it just flows around you. No, this shit has grip. It will happily take hold and rip you along. Lava and magma are not to be trifled with. There was some talk about turning the flow into liquid gold, but I was like, you realize many of the base metals are very much way better thermal conductors than just stone. So just regular old limestone, which this appears to be made out of, is an excellent insulator, so it radiates heat very slowly. It does so very effectively, but it also does so very slowly. And so whatever control mechanisms have been, calibrated in this room to allow this to not overly affect the rest of the area, with the sheer amount of lava in this chamber, is obviously very carefully calculated and controlled. So changing the substance of the 10 by 40 foot flow coming out of the roof from solid molten limestone to solid molten gold might adversely affect the temperature of the room and the people in it, the equipment in it, the air in it. There was some talk about turning it into boiling hot liquid nitrogen to attempt to cool it, but then you would like, do you really want to snap cool lava? It's going to do bad things. Anytime you're fluctuating between temperature extremes, bad things happen. Anyway, so they determined the simplest option is to just, while we're leaving, turn everything back on. Put everything back the way it was. But they determined that as they're turning everything back on, some set of horrible circumstances has put all of this, after however many years of no maintenance, strain, ceasing, unending use for centuries of whatever this lava-based trap mechanism has caused preternatural strain upon the systems controlling it. And so while the room was essentially before almost eerily quiet when they entered, now the pipe networks of the control systems are making unearthly rackets, straining, groaning, wheezing, all kinds of unnatural gurgling and mechanical noises are coming from the control network now, implying that whatever critically balanced system had been maintaining this place before was now desperately out of whack. And so something in this room has come loose, has been damaged. Some set of pipes or mechanisms or engines is now irreversibly damaged. And so it becomes, all right, grab the lamp, we're leaving. There's nothing else in our way. The dome is gone, the chains are gone. Lisa's character runs up to the orb, or not the orb, but the lamp, has grabbed it, has stuffed it in their bag, has been picked up by Soba, flown back over to the other platform because the lava's back on, blocking the central pathway. And so they have returned to the party and gone back into the library, leaving the room with the encased sphere of annihilation, with the full knowledge that something in that room is no longer functioning correctly. They have damaged something in that set of inner workings that it's got problems, and they don't want to be there when something stops working. So other than that, I mean, they're relatively fine. But that is the ending point of last night's session, is that they fought the monster. They did a good number of damage to it, but they figured out the working mechanisms. They used the mechanisms to crush the enemy in front of them. They have retrieved the lamp and have left the room. So that's it. I'll catch you when you get back. See ya, cuz.